you want to gain the trust of your audience and double your revenue in the next 30 to 90 days, this is the exact method that I would use to do it. And it's all in this little secret called lead magnets. Now, the big reason why I want to actually make this video today is I've had multiple conversations over the last 48 hours with current clients and non-clients talking about what a lead magnet or a freebie is. They call them a bunch of different things depending on what your industry is, how formal or not formal you are in marketing, so on and so forth. But so many people don't know what this is. And it is one of the biggest things that you can actually do to grow your business, gain the trust of your audience, and also just grow the size of your audience in general. So I'm going to be going over what a lead magnet is, how you can utilize it, what are the long-term goals of how to do this, and some examples at the very end of the video. So if you get value at any point throughout this video, the one thing I ask is if you can hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I create tons of content like this to help you grow your business. So what is a lead magnet? It is something of value to your audience. That is the number one thing here. And that might sound super vague. And it kind of is, because lead magnets can be a number of different things. If you are a loan officer providing an Excel template that is easy to use with a Loom video of how much money you need to make in order to get qualified for X amount on a mortgage, that could be something of value to your audience if you're underwriting loans for especially single family homes. If you are a race director and you put on tons of different trail races, you might want to consider having a what do you need or how to prepare for a 50K or a 50 miler or a 100-mile race, and having that be your freebie and having a checklist of what to do for that. There's also a lot of really interesting ways where you can go from a freebie in that example and upsell into a low ticket offer and then upsell into your main offer. So with the race director's example, low ticket offer might be how to prep for a 50K. The low ticket offer might be a nutrition and training plan in detail for how to prep for a 50K race. And the main offer would be actually registering for your race. There's also a bunch of really unique ways in that example that I'm going to go into further on how you could actually monetize beyond just that as well. So number one, something of value. The next thing is that I want to talk about, and this can be a number of different things. It can be templates, it can be information. You can give away something for free, right? For example, social media manager. You could give away 1 week of content scheduled out for free. Now, you don't want to do that for anyone, because if they're not qualified, if they don't have a business, if they don't have money to pay you, you're not going to give a free ride on a private jet for someone who doesn't have money. You're going to do it for qualified applicants. So part of when you're doing your lead magnet is you want to consider a qualification process. But for example, again, social media manager, let's say they have a small business that came in, they qualify to be a client of yours, they make $500,000 a year, they want to scale up to $1 million, so they have money in order to pay you. Doing a free week of pre-scheduled social media content is a great way to get people through the door, as long as they're qualified. So having qualifying questions in the lead magnet can help depending on what it is. Generally speaking, more service lead magnets where you're doing something for free is a little bit more advanced. Again, the easiest things, PDFs, ebooks, mini courses, templates, something people can actually use. Let's say you're an automation coach, having a Zapier or a Go High Level or another platform, maybe like ClickUp, where you have an automation where you can download automatically into their own portal, into their own platform, and drop and go and use it, is of immense value as a freebie. And a lot of times people will do that and be like, oh, that's super awesome. What else can they do? If you're someone who does automations, you're an automation agency, right? They're going to ask, what more can they do? Or they're going to realize how hard it is to actually do these things and realize and see the value of what hiring you would actually be. So just to go over, again, you can do information. You can do templates. And you can do free services. These are the general things. And there's a million little side things here you can do. But these are just the really broad overview of what you can give away as a lead magnet or a freebie to get people into your pipeline. Now, when I say pipeline, what does that even mean? What is the purpose of giving away something for free? All right. What is the purpose of a lead magnet? The whole idea is you give them something of value and they give you something of value that is of no monetary exchange, aka they're not paying you. So what can they give you? Number one thing, and this is super popular, is their Instagram contact, right? This is what happens when ManyChat engages with them from a comment CTA on a reel. We'll go into what that means on the next page. But you get their IG contact. So you get a contact from them. The next thing is email. This is the next step up. This is a little bit more valuable, but not the most valuable, right? There are more valuable things out there that you can get from them. The big reason why I say it's not the most valuable, email open rates, depending on your industry, are between like 10 and 20%. Click rates are low, and a lot of people give you a fake email. You know, the next thing that's a little bit more valuable is a phone number. And oftentimes people don't have phone numbers that are fake to give you, so they end up giving you your real one. However, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but oftentimes if you have them add in their phone number on the form, it is going to significantly lower the total number of opt-ins you get. However, you might find that even though you're getting less opt-ins, again, you're not giving, free private jet rights to broke people. You might actually increase the quality of the leads that you're getting through the door. So IG contact, email, phone, and then we'll call this down here miscellaneous information. What is that? So if you have a form that you are having them fill out, you can ask them any questions you want, and you can qualify these people to see if they would actually be a good client in your business. And a lot of these questions, like, for example, let's say you do lead generation for plumbers. You can be asking, how many employees? What is your head count? How much website traffic do you currently drive? Where do you drive your leads from? What is your current revenue? What are your goals to expand? These are all examples to qualify if there's someone that would actually make sense to work with you in your business. But these, just in general, obviously there's more things out there. I'm not, and I'm sure there's ways and things you can do that I'm not even super familiar with, but these are the general things. The last thing is, because if you're sending them to a page to fill out this information beyond ManyChat, and we'll go into the technicalities of this, is you can get essentially like their metadata. So like if you have like the Facebook pixel, if you have the Google Pixel like embedded on your landing page, you can use this data traffic to help train your pixels that you're using to run your ads on, amongst other things. So there is bonuses that you get from incentivizing people with something free that can actually, highly incentivize you to pay money. And you might be like, well, that's all well and good. What do I do with all of this? So like IG contact, this is going to be follow-up messages, and this can really be utilized if you have someone who is like a setter in your DMs that can set qualified book calls for your sales team or can close in the DMs on Instagram. It really depends on your offer. If you're doing low ticket, usually the value isn't there. It's something you might want to have automated. If you're doing high ticket sales or high ticket services, having a setter can make a ton of sense to do follow-up with these different leads, have a sales conversation with them, and process them through. Now, there's a lot of nuance to actually doing that and how you want to set this up. The next one is email marketing, and I'm just going to put sequences here, but the big thing is, like, if you're going to get their email, you can run them through a sequence. So for example, if you're an information-based business, and let's say you teach high schoolers how to throw the perfect spiral in football, something random, or consistently shoot 3 points. You have a really good 3-point drill for basketball, right? And your freebie to get them through the door is like 5 things to improve your free throw average, right? The next thing would be sequences like upselling them into the micro offer of your course on how to increase your 3 points, your 3-point average, right? And that sequence would be geared towards that. So selling on that, and again, we always recommend, this is Gary Vee's method. We call it Gary Vee's method because he coined the term jab, 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 right hook, but really this goes further back into television because TV has had ads running on it for like the last 100 years, and even radio, and there's been a lot of money, time, and effort put into studies, and turns out roughly 25%, the number is a little bit more specific than that. It's really about 13.5 minutes per 60 minutes of television. So, right under that 25% mark is where the ideal amount of ads asking you to buy something compared to free content is. So again, any type of sequences, any type of follow-up that you're doing, especially if it's going to have a level of automation to it, is highly valuable to provide that, value, and then go for your ask on that fourth one. Next one is phones. So like text campaigns is like the bare minimum. Texting people when you have new free offers to give them, texting people when you're running promotionals. Those are, text blasts you can do additionally to specific text campaigns. Also, when you have a phone number, if they are qualified, like we were talking about earlier, then you have this massive opportunity where you can actually have your sales team reach out and get them on the phone to discuss what that offer would be if they're qualified. And they're more likely to respond positively because they have received value from you. Now, the key in getting people to pick up the phone or open emails from you in the future is deliver an immense amount of value in this free stuff, because you have to factor people's time into this. If it takes them 20 to 30 minutes to go through your course and you only deliver $30 of value, well, they broke even. But if you deliver $300 of value in that 30 minutes it took them to, comment on your reel, go to their email, open up their email when they received, the free thing, go through the free thing, that is a lot more value for the time that they put in, and they're going to value your words more when you open your mouth to say something, when you send them an email, when you call them. Next, miscellaneous info. Again, all of this goes back into qualified leads, which we all know how valuable that is in a business to have qualified leads that you can follow up with, work, and have in your sales pipeline. So this is the general purpose. This is what you're working towards when you come up with a lead magnet. This is why you are doing it. And if I were to sum all of this up, this is the technical what you do to get people in, but the whole idea of the lead magnet is to build trust with your audience. That you give them something of value so that they know when you are opening your mouth, they know you're speaking the truth because they have already seen it physically with their eyes. They got, their free point average up. They were able to get more plumbing leads through the door. They were able to see how much they could qualify for on that single family home based off of their income, okay? They're getting real value from what you are providing to them in their lives. And that value, as I said earlier, can look a lot different. Now, the number one response I get when I'm talking about lead magnets with clients, with people on the internet, friends, other business owners is this. But Soren, if I give them that much value with something free, why would they then work with me? What you want to do is, number one, you don't want to cannibalize your offer. So you want to make sure your lead magnet is differentiated enough that, again, people still want to work with you. So for example, a lot of times people will give away, and this is mostly in the information-based area, but they'll give away the strategies, right? And then they'll sell the tactics. So what does this mean? We work in social media consulting and business consulting. We help businesses grow with organic content. So even though we focus mostly on the marketing aspect, there's different things we help them with in their businesses. So for us, what this looks like, exactly what I'm doing in this video. I'm giving you the overall strategy, what you want to be doing with a lead magnet in order to grow your business. Now, the actual tactics, this is like the customization. This is for your business, I would actually be doing XYZ, or there's this little nuance here. Or this is how we found that this works extremely well on Instagram right now. The actual tactics of doing it. And again, this looks different for, every business. For information businesses, generally speaking, strategies, give away the strategies, sell the tactics. The other things you can do is even if you're giving away strategies, tactics can go beyond the customization to the business. This can be templates. Depending on your business, this can be done for you services where you're actually doing it for them, because even though they understand how to do it, we have clients that come to us all the time, they don't want to post on social media. They say, hey, can you do it for me? Yeah, we'll charge you for it, but yeah, we'll do it for you. So done for you services. Again, this falls under templates, product. Most people get caught up in this. as long as your offer isn't cannibalizing your core offer. So again, going back to the example where I teach you how to improve your 3-point average. Improving your free throw average, different technique, different range. It's going to be a lot different than what I would sell or give away in the 3-point. But it's like if I'm giving away like how to shoot from the 3-point and then I'm also trying to sell shoot from the 3-point, again, it doesn't make a lot of sense for you because it's cannibalizing the offer. Another example of this, there's a lot of different offers out there where this happens, but like people will have a membership where, they're cannibalizing their main offer, their high ticket offer with a low ticket offer, where it's essentially the same thing or 90% of the same thing. And it really depends because we call it cannibalization, but it really depends. But like, let's say you have a group offer where you help people work through anxiety or whatever, and you have a membership and you charge $30 a month and you can get on a group call once a month, and then you have like a high ticket thing, and the difference is you get 2 group calls. Well, yeah, that's going to cannibalize your main offer. Same thing if it was like a freebie. The big difference there though, and again, even if you're giving stuff away for free, there's certain things that people will pay for. Like you could literally have that, like you could have a free community and have thousands of people in it, and you could do one 30-minute call a month and then upsell to a 3K offer where you get one-on-one access, and you would probably be sold out on your time to fulfill on it because the amount of people that are willing to pay for the one-on-one access versus the limited spot where they have once a month is going to be extraordinary because people don't want to wait. So if you're selling something that is limited, again, there's a lot of ways where you can get around this. It comes back to whether it's strategies or it's limited availability, limited supply. Limited supply can also be a factor where people will still pay. Going back to the social media manager where you give them a week of scheduled content, give them a hit, get them hooked on it, and then they'll come back for more. Okay, here's the example of what I do. We're gonna use the race director one for someone putting on trail races. You can take this and modify it to a lot of different businesses. I'm giving you this example even though we work with like primary like information-based businesses because this is something I really enjoy and I've had a fun time thinking about it. So here we go. The main offer is this 50K course in the mountains. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a freebie or a lead magnet as we've gone over. How to run your first 50K. Long name, we'll just call it that, how to run your first 50K. And this is gonna, cover like the basics of gear, a brief training, and like what to expect. It doesn't have to be a ton, but like a lot of this stuff people don't know. Like, are my regular shoes gonna hold up for a 50 miler versus a marathon? I know people wear special shoes to go run a marathon. So like gear, do I need a rain jacket? Do I need a waistband? Do I need a run vest? How much water do I need in between run stations? They're 8 miles apart, blah, 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 blah. Like all of this different stuff. Training, how many miles do I need to be running a week? What to expect on race day, da, 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 da. And all of this, like what to expect on race day, you can tie it back into the main offer of the 50K. Now, the next thing I would do is I'd have like a low ticket bump, and this is how you start to monetize. I'd have the email sequences push to the low ticket bump offer of a nutrition and a training guide that's detailed of how to prep for the 50K. Then I would have email sequences from that once they bump on that. And if they don't bump on this, I would pitch on this. I'd pitch the actual 50K course itself for your race that you're putting on. And this is the main offer. Now, the really interesting thing with this specifically is you have 2 main ways to monetize here. If I were to be extra and I was really growing this and I was doing like the 50K freebie, the 50 miler freebie, the 100K, the 100 miler, all of these different races, how to prep for trail running, and you're building this list of people who just so happen to spend thousands of dollars a year on really expensive running gear. By the way, which companies have affiliate programs, right? Is I would then have email sequences that talk about like the top gear that you really like. I think I spelled affiliate probably wrong, but I would join in several different affiliate programs of the gear that you love. And again, it has to be authentic, but this is like the next way I'd monetize off of that initial 50K race that you're putting on is I would have affiliate programs for gear, for supplements. Supplements are a big one because they're a recurring purchase. And if people are training for these races, they're gonna need, and again, if you reference this stuff up here under gear, like if they want this really fancy scratch carbohydrate, high carb liquid fuel, they got to buy that, and they're going to consume it while training. They're going to consume it during the race, and they're going to consume it when they train for their next race. And it's a recurring purchase, but you can supply them with that and reference it and have these affiliate programs or these affiliate links in your free lead magnets, in your low ticket offers, and you can even have people try it. Again, giving them an offer, because this is something like people might only do 1 or 2 races a year or a race every couple months. If they're training, there's certain stuff like shoes, they're gonna buy a new pair of shoes every 2 to 3 months because they're gonna wear out once they hit 500 miles. They are going to be constantly getting food, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different ways where you can take a freebie, upsell, upsell, upsell again, and have different methods to monetize. And even if they don't upsell into the low ticket offer, if they don't upsell even into your race, again, likelihood of them purchasing something from the value you provided and the gear, the training, whatever, is extremely high. And you can do this with multiple different businesses. If we were to do this with like an information-based business, let's say you are a media buyer for small businesses, again, freebie of something along the lines of how to get 10 leads for your business with a $5 a day ad budget or whatever. Make it true, obviously. And go into the creative, go into the copywriting, go into the VSL, then have the low ticket offer done for you VSL funnel, right? Or maybe that's more of a mid-ticket thing. Or you could have a template. If they buy the template, bump to the mid-ticket of done for you, then into the high-ticket main offer of doing the media buying for them as the agency. And then the affiliate is like, oh, hey, you're gonna need a ClickFunnels subscription, or you're gonna need a school program, and having those affiliates for those softwares. So you can really take this example of giving away free information and really have it benefit your business. And in this case, there's certain businesses where it's a little bit harder, but how to run your first 50K as a freebie, giving away this free information, only benefits you. And there's no way that it will really cannibalize you unless they go to a different race because they're not in your area. And that's more of an expansion problem. We can talk about that in a different video, or a market penetration problem where you don't own enough of the market, where they go to someone else like UTMB for a race instead of you. So anyways, if you guys got any value from this video whatsoever, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you had any questions or want examples for your own business, drop that down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you about it. And I hope you have a great day.